And welcome back to the Psalm 40 Project. We're here with Pastor Mike.
Clarify that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're heading out to the Middle East.
So we go to the Middle East. We're there for, again, 7 weeks, and we went with Dr. Dick and Thea Van Halsma, and those names don't mean anything to you.
Not a thing.
Many people from church will know who they are.
It'll mean something to everybody else.
So out of that trip, going to Egypt, Israel, and Turkey, Lisa and I sensed that at our stage in life, we had our undergraduate degrees. Neither of us at that time feeling any sense of call to go to seminary. Of those 3 places in the Middle East, Turkey really was drawing us in. Because it was the kind of place where you could go and be a tent maker. In other words, do a regular job and have an impact as a witness. Whereas a place like Egypt, where the church was so strong for so long, they needed people to be seminary professors and that sort of thing.
So just real quick, as a side tangent for your story, and I hope it's helpful for people who are trying to sense God's call. When you say sense, what does that kind of mean for you? Because we do, sometimes you hear people say, well, I hear God speak to me. Some people, it's somebody said, hey, I think you'd be good at this. And so what does that kind of mean for you when you say, I sensed God, I sensed that this was the direction I should go?
Good. I think I like to think about it in terms of doors opening and closing. So when I say sense, here's what happened. It's coming back from Urbana. Lisa and I talking about this, saying, okay.
Yeah, that's an important component, is that you both were together on this adventure, and you can talk to each other about it.
Yes, and side note, we each came to that conclusion separately, and so that's always been important for us. We've had these 2 parts to sort of one call to try to follow Jesus, but we've had these 2 parts that so far have been able to work well together. Yeah, so we both thought, well, if we think cross-cultural ministry is where God is calling us, then we need to explore that. And where should we explore that? Well, the way we thought of it at that time was we were drawn to this idea of unreached people. We had learned German, not Spanish, so Central and South America just seemed like there's people learning those languages. So if we're going to learn another language, let's go somewhere where other people aren't going.
Maybe fewer people know the language.
Right, exactly. And out of that, we started focusing in on the Middle East. So we came across this trip offered by Dr. Van, like I said, that went to Egypt, Israel, and Turkey, which was geared precisely to help someone discern whether or not they are being called into mission work. And so it was what was being offered was exactly the sort of questions we thought. So open door, that's what we're talking about here. So the next question for us then was, well, can we raise the money to do this? So we started writing letters. Our youth group that we'd been involved with, they said, let's do a car wash and raise some money that way. Well, we were able to raise the money. So open door, let's go through that. We went on the trip. We got to Turkey. We fell in love with the people and the culture, the food.
It's important.
It is important.
Very important.
It is for me.
Well, if you can't eat the food,
that's right.
It's going to be really hard to live there.
It's going to be really hard. So again, we came back from the trip saying, well, of all those 3 places, if we were to go back, it would be Turkey. What are some opportunities? So doors began to open in terms of we were able to do a longer-term internship, go back for a year to learn the language. Again, we were successful in raising money to do that, so open door again. So hearing and discerning God's call has always been a little bit about let's go in this direction.
Yeah.
And if the door continues to open, we'll continue to go in that direction. If it closes, then we may have to look for something else.
Yeah, so a little less on the audible God doing this.
Right.
But more on this is what my passion is.
Yep.
This is what I'm interested in. Let's see how far we can go this way.
That's right.
Yeah.
So now we're in Turkey. We end up in Turkey for 6 years. I worked as a salesperson for a book importing company, and that was a 50-hour-a-week job.
Yep.
And my job was to set up book fairs with schools from elementary school on up through university. It was a wonderful way to meet Turkish people, just try to be a witness at work, both with Muslims, but then also with some of the young Christian Turks that I worked with. And then we got involved with a little church there. Our church had both a Turkish-speaking service and an English-speaking service. I became an elder in that church, started doing some preaching. Lisa organized a summer immersion program, very similar to the one we were on as college students.
Yeah, so people coming to Turkey?
So they would come to Turkey.
And she'd help organize what's going on.
She organized that. I'd help her out in the summer times as well. And so we really enjoyed sort of that discipleship part of that.
Yeah.
And after doing that for 6 years, we started to evaluate where we imagined ourselves in 5 years or 10 years, and we couldn't imagine ourselves still continuing on with business. I really wasn't all that good of a salesman, let's just be honest.
Fair enough.
I was having a whole lot more fun discipling my coworkers who were Christians, and I had wonderful opportunities because in that context they didn't view me as a missionary. They viewed me as a coworker.
Okay.
So they would come to me and say, "Hey, Mike, the missionary told me this. What do you think?"
Oh, interesting.
So then we would have conversations, and I just really enjoyed that. So, yeah. And then witnessing, of course, to the Muslim coworkers that I had. So, yeah.
So you're planning for the future, but you don't see yourself staying in Turkey or staying in business in Turkey?
Don't see ourselves staying in business in Turkey. Feeling the need at that point that in order to be more effective in ministry, we needed more education.
Okay.
And so then wanting to go to seminary, wanting to explore seminary, let's just use that language. So we came back. I knew enough about seminary from friends of mine who attended that if I was going to attend seminary, then I was going to attend seminary, get an MDiv, and that would open up as many doors as possible.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I was going to go to seminary, then I didn't want to, I wanted to be eligible to be ordained in the Christian Reformed Church, even if I wasn't going to become a pastor in a traditional kind of sense. So I knew all of those things. When we sat down to think, okay, why is it that God is opening up the door to seminary? What could possibly be in our future? We made a list, and the list went something like this. Probably to go back to Turkey. If not Turkey, maybe we'll end up overseas somewhere. That sounds good. And we said, well, we want to be open to wherever God would call us, and so we need to be open to go, stay in the United States. That's okay. And we, although we didn't say no at this point, we did say we kind of hope that it's not Grand Rapids.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder where this story is going to go.